This episode of Catch the Craze is sponsored by Catch the Crazees #3 on Kickstarter, April 29th. What's up, Georgie? What's going on today on the House of Craze?
What's up, Sam? We have actress Diana Tinker on the show today. That's going to be our guest, and we're going to be talking about the Rush Mob. You want to find out what the Rush Mob is?
Yo, back up. Stop rushing
Coming
me.
up next.
Let's get it.
We are the only show for independents all around, giving you a platform to spread your word all over town. Catch the Craze is the place to promote to your fans with the dream of Medina and Sam the Crazy Man. Subscribe to our show and never miss an episode. It's time to get your mans, listen to us on the go. Updated every week, we never miss a day. Join the squad, come on in. It's time to catch the craze. If you are an independent, catch the craze. Making moves on your own, catch the craze. On your grind in the streets, catch the craze. Join the movement, catch the craze.
Yeah, George, we did it again. Come on now. You know you want to do it. Catch the Craze. Welcome to Catch the Craze podcast. I am your host with the most, Sam the Crazy Man Vera, and I am with
George, the Dreamer, Medina. What's up, Sam?
another day, another dollar.
Another day, another dollar. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Catch the Craze.
Catch the
We
Craze.
are towards the end of April.
Yo, that's
Holy cow,
crazy,
where
bro.
has the year gone,
That's just
right?
crazy. I became a brokepreneur December 5th, and we're already going into spring. It is
Yeah.
crazy.
All right. Well, listen, time flies when you're having fun, right?
Time flies when you're a brokepreneur, bro, and you're struggling.
Oh, man. So thank you, everybody, for joining us again. Remember to subscribe, like, comment, share, tell people about us. Let them know Catch the Craze exists.
Tell
And we're real.
Yes.
It's real. We have a very, very good guest today.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Yes.
She's an actress. Her name is Diana Tinker. And you've known her for a while, right, Sam?
Yes, we met. Wow. A long time ago. We met a long time ago at work, and at that time she was a foot model, actress. She was in music videos. She did a lot of things, and it's good to see. She's when you think entrepreneur, you think Diana. I mean, she's done a lot. I think she had a food truck at one point.
Really?
You know, she uprooted herself and went to California. You know, she's a go-getter. She's fearless. You know, it's pretty. I'm excited to have her on the show.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah. She's. I was looking at some of the stuff that she's done. I mean, she's been in music videos back in days with Wu-Tang,
Yeah.
and so she's done
Watch these
a whole lot of
weapons
stuff.
get all up in the gut. French vanilla
Yeah,
butter
Ice Cream, right?
pecans,
It was the
chocolate
Ice Cream?
nut. Yes, ice cream. She was in
The
that
Ice
video.
Cream.
She was in a bunch of videos. But
Yeah.
that's the one that stuck out because when she told me about it, I went and so I said, "Oh, there she is."
Yeah.
But yeah.
So that's gonna be fun.
That's gonna be
fun.
cool.
That's going to come on a little later on today. We're also going to be talking about the Rush Mob. The
Yeah.
Rush Mob. And when we talk about the Rush Mob, we'll get into that a little later on.
Yes.
But we'll be talking about that. We have a new segment on the show,
Yeah.
the indie news, right?
Yes, indie
And
news.
we also have a new segment called, which is not new anymore, but it's the shameless plug. We'll be plugging one of our fellow indies at the end of the show. So
Yes.
we have quite a few things to talk about. Plus, before we even get started on anything, we have to mention that on the 29th, which is just a few days from now, we will be launching the Catch the Crazees Kickstarter #3. So
Yes.
get ready for that.
Get those
Because
crazies.
come April 29th, which is next Thursday, April 29th, we will be launching the Crazies.
Yes.
So
Yes.
they're back. They're back.
Yes. The crazies are back. That's pretty dope. Indigo.
And thank you everybody who has actually, supported us through the first 2 Kickstarters. You guys rock. We have a couple of people that come back that have both issues. So thank you very much for that. And that is awesome.
Yeah, that is pretty dope. So since we were talking about breaking news, let's breaking news! We made goal. We've achieved our goal.
Wait, hold on. People are like, what are you talking about? This is breaking news from
a month ago. But this is breaking news. So when we recorded this show, we made our goal for bidding, which
so
is
that
dope.
is the indie spotlight.
Yes,
now
yes.
It is April, so you guys, I don't know if you would have sent that stuff out already.
Yes,
now
it would
I'm
have.
pretty sure.
It would have been shipped out already. Yeah.
That is funny. Oh man, this is improv, baby.
Breaking news! The stuff is shipped. It's coming. It's coming.
It's on its way. Breaking news.
That's breaking news.
Forbidden.
Yes.
So thank you everybody who supported Forbidden and got it colored. So that is on its way. The first 16 pages plus a whole bunch of behind the scenes, really cool stuff. You have pinups you're gonna get.
Yes.
Everybody who pledged over $10, you're all getting, so it's great. It's great.
It is great. It is great. Another breaking news in the comic book industry just came out 11 minutes ago by comicbookresources.com. Former DC executive editor Mark Doyle joins IDW after he was laid off from DC.
Now, just remember, guys, this broke on March 10th.
This broke on March 10th, baby.
But we are airing this episode on April. So we were up on the times on March 10th. But by the time you see this would have been news that you probably would have heard. And if you didn't hear it, it's breaking news to you, right?
Yes.
Because if you're not up on that, now you know.
Look.
Now you know that he is.
No news is good news. With Gary, good news. Just
okay. There it is. There it is. Sam is a philosopher as well, guys.
Yes. Confucius say.
Philosopher. So exciting stuff. We have had a lot of support from the indie community. Thank you all for joining us in this journey.
And when we talk indie community, when we're talking about indie community, we're talking about indie community in the arts. I mean, because we've had multiple actors. So I don't know what the politically correct thing to say, just to categorize an actor, whether it's male or female, or you have to say actress, actors. We have multiple performers, actors, musicians. We've had puppeteers. We've had a lot of different guests on the show, creatives in the show. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah. No, we have. We've run the gamut of creatives that we've had on the show. We want to have more. So if you guys are interested in being on the show, remember we pre-recorded, obviously.
Yes.
So if you have something that you're promoting, make sure that it is, you're promoting it for further along. Or we do have those improv shows from time to time, and we just throw them up there. So that has become very popular, especially in the world of crowdfunding.
Yeah, crowdfunding. There seems to be a big demand to get out there, and the good thing about what's happening is there's a lot of, we talked about it. I remember when we first relaunched. One of the first conversations was, all right, how do we get our guests? Where do we get our guests from? Now, and now that we have a booking system as well, it's just been easy. Today somebody reached out to me and said, hey, this is my book, blah, blah, blah. Where can I send it? How can I get on the show? Send them the link. Here's the booking system. It shows you what spots are available. You just select which one works for you. And I just have to confirm that there's no conflicts, and it's good. And so we're booked through, end of May?
Yeah.
We're working on June now. It's crazy.
Yeah, working on June. And remember that working on June as of March. So by the time this airs, we probably will be working well into July, August. Who knows?
2027.
So, but remember, just hit us up. I mean, check the link is on the Catch the Craze Facebook page. So go to Catch the Craze podcast on Facebook.
Yes.
The link is on there. It's the first button you see. You're going to see book now.
Yes.
Hit that button, check to see what times are available, and go from there, because that's how you, that's very easy to get on the show that way. So
Yes.
make sure you take advantage of that. And also, I guess when we can talk about this at the end, usually you let them know about the sponsoring options that we have, but we'll talk about that a little later.
Yes.
Right
now, I think it's a good time to take my medicine because I'm feeling a little feverish.
A little woozy.
So let's do this.
It's time for your medicine.
Rush Mob. ¿Qué eso?
Mob. The Rush Mob. The Rush Mob. And listen, we've been doing this show since last September?
A long time.
A long time.
No, September. Since 2019.
2019.
September 2019.
Look at that. Oh my God, dude.
Yes, we're going on our second year anniversary.
Wow. All right, we're going to have to plan a party. We're going to have to plan a party on that, all right? We're going to have to plan a party.
Yes. It's our anniversary.
Oh, wow. But we, even though this is only our second anniversary back, we've been in this game.
Last time I didn't get flowers. I'm just saying.
Let it go. Let it go. We go back. We go back in this game. We've been in this game for years. It's made us animals, right? So if you take anything from these segments, these shows, and I'm talking to my indies, to the new guys, not the old school guys, but to the new guys.
Right.
Don't rush into things.
No.
Okay.
Oops.
Do not rush into putting out a project out there that isn't complete. It's just not. It's not good. It's not a good look for you.
No.
It's not a good look for you, as far as how the fans perceive you.
Yes.
It's just not. I think for years, and we spoke about this, and I can't remember what show it was, but we spoke about how back in the days, the stigma on independent comic book companies and publishers was that I'll buy the first issue because I like you,
Yes.
but I don't know that I'm going to get the second one. I don't know where the story's going to go, if it's even going to continue. So sometimes people didn't even buy it for that reason. Right, because things weren't finished.
Right.
So that's what that's the topic for today is, and when I call it the Rush Mob, it's just those guys that are so. And I get it. Yeah, you can't wait to get your stuff out there.
You gotta wait. You gotta slow down. You're living foul, and it ain't your style. So remember Grand Poobah?
Spitting bars.
Brad Nubius. Hey, baby. Anyway, so we speak from experience because I remember when we first started in the game, we rushed some stuff and we had typos and we had crazy stuff, right? So it was a waste of money and it's your credibility. And I can tell you, I did a What's in the Box, and there was a book review that I did where it was some things were missed because it was rushed to the finish line, and because of that, the integrity of the product. It wasn't the art, wasn't the story. It was the integrity of the production, which was in question. And so you never want to be put in that position where you're not putting your best foot forward. And I think that's the key. And I think everybody, there's a lot of pressure for everybody to get to the finish line. Everybody wants to get noticed, because the competition's thick. Get noticed with your best. Make sure you have your birthday suit on, bro. It's. My mom always said it's like setting the table. My mom was the best at making sure that she had the best china out, tablecloths. Whenever she had guests over, the setup was amazing.
Dressed to impress.
Amazing. To impress. And we had to dress up. And I'm like, I said, this is my house. Why do I have to dress up? I can't wear my socks and my onesie and just run around and slide. And and it always stuck with me. And I'll give you a perfect example, and it applies to everything you do. I was in desperate need of a job. It was just me and my sister and her baby and my grandma and my brother who couldn't find work because he had a record, and so he couldn't get employed. So everything was on my back, and I needed a job, and so I went to NBO, which was a men's suit store. And they were having a closeout sale, 70 to 80% off of everything, right? I was like, oh, perfect, because I don't have much money. So I went and got a suit, and I walked into Professional Security Bureau over by 34th Street by Madison Square Garden. And I walked in. There's about 25 guys in the lounge area filling out applications. Nobody's dressed. Everybody's just went in the way they went in. I'm suited up, and I knock on the window. I'm young. I'm a kid. And they open up the window. They look at me. The door opens, and they bring me in. Everybody in the waiting room was like, what the? I go in. They interviewed me. They said, when can you start? I said, I can start right now. They said, how about tomorrow? I said, sure. And the boss, big, tall, I forgot his name. He had salt and pepper hair. He said, we're sending him to Saks. And so they sent me downstairs to size me up for my uniform. And it was a blue blazer with these big old gold buttons, and it was oversized. It was like baggy on me. And then they gave me these itchy gray pants and a clip-on tie. And I was like, oh, hell no. I only heard about Saks in the movies. I've never been there. So I was like, there's no way. So I went back to NBO. And I said, hey, can you match this? I need a blazer, but it needed to be cut to my body. I need the gray pants tailored, and I need a tie to match this. I went to Saks. I got in. There was a lineup, 40 guards. And there was the field supervisor for Professional Security Bureau, because we provided a service for Saks. And they're like, all right, we're putting him in fine jewelry. And he goes, oh, man, we gave you that uniform? I said, no, I went and bought this. I was like, and they're like, man. So they put me in the jewelry department, one of the most important areas in the building. 3 months later, I got hired by Saks. But the goal is, or the moral of the story is, I want to make sure that they first saw the best version of me on the surface. And then when I was employed, I gave them the best version of me in what I did. I learned quickly, I adapted quickly, I responded, and I was hungry. Same thing in comics. If you're going to put out a book, if you're going to put anything out there, this is you. This is a representation of you. You want to be taken seriously in the game? Put your best work out there, bro, and people will take you seriously. And I think that's the key.
You also have to take into consideration the fact that there's a lot of competition out there.
Yep.
So if you're not dressed to impress, so to speak, like we're talking about, then you're going to get overlooked. You're going to get, passed over on whatever, whether it's a sale, whether it's, it's an executive who's looking for a new project, and your stuff just doesn't look finished. It doesn't look right. Now, you got to fight the urge. Yes. I understand you're excited. It's my first project. I got to get it out. Nobody knows about it, but you do have to get it out. Agree 100%. And that's where also the other side of that is planning is very important, right? We talk about how we record these shows, and I'm asking people, hey, if you want to come on the show, but you want to promote something, make sure it's for the future because, it's pre-recorded. This is the type of thinking you have to have ahead, right? It's like chess. You got to think steps ahead. You can't just think about, oh, I'm going to put this book out tomorrow, but you don't have issues 2, 3, 4. And now people are waiting for yours, but it takes a while to put an issue together because as an independent artist, maybe the money isn't there, or, your artist found a better gig, a higher paying gig. So now he's gone. And if you're an artist, you have a 9 to 5 that you work. So you don't have the time to sit down and draw the book, whatever it is. There are things that happen amongst us who don't do this professionally, or it's our 9 to 5. Mm-hmm. So you have to take all of that stuff into consideration before you even decide to put the book out, and never promote something that isn't finished.
Yes. I had some cats reach out to me and says, hey, I'd like to promote my book. And it's like, can I see the finished product? Oh, it's not ready yet. Call me when it is. And it's like, because how many of those fly-by-nights come along the way, they never even finish it, right? But they're hyping it up. And I think you have to have a finished product. You have to have another set of eyes look at your stuff and scrutinize it. And I think that sometimes the pride gets in the way. The creatives, they feel like they have all the answers, and they don't want, they're like, you don't have, I know what I'm doing. And so then they rush it, and then they've had typos and errors, or copied and pasted the same thing twice. In fact, I saw that today in one of the, I was doing the what's in the box. A couple of words were copied twice, multiple occasions. So who was proofreading it? So, and I think that's the biggest thing. The best thing you can do for yourself is When the stuff is complete, put it away for a week. Go back with a fresh pair of eyes and read it as a fan. Scrutinize it as a critic would, and look for flaws. Because when you do that, you're going to really grow as a creator, because now you're sharpening your skills, and you are looking at it from impartially. You're not like so vested in it that you can't see the forest through the trees. So you just want to make sure that you give it to somebody else to read it for you, to proof it. Give it a couple of people that actually care. Don't impose it on people who don't have time because they're not going to take it seriously, and you're going to be chasing them. People that care, people in the industry.
Yes people.
Yes people.
Don't give it to yes
Don't
people.
give it to yes people.
Yeah, do not give it to those people that are just going to be like, mom is going to support everything you do. Don't give it to mom. She's not going to find a flaw in your stuff. She's just not. She's going to find all of the good stuff and ignore the flaws. And it's not that she's being bad. It's just she loves you. Or people. I'm using it as an example. And for those people who are looking at us and like, who the hell are these two clowns? What are they talking about?
What the hell is this?
I'm cautionary, and that's tail right there. And we've done it. We've been there. We've made the mistakes, and that's the reason why we're telling you that. Because if we knew then what we know now, it'd be a whole different ballgame.
You all be done.
A whole different ballgame.
You all be done.
Master.
What? I'll take you all out.
So
I'll take you all out.
Do not be part of the rush mob.
Because we made all those mistakes. Every single one of them that we're preaching, we did it.
Every single one.
How many times?
Every single one.
How many times?
Dude, we've done all of it. I mean, talk about overprinting issues. Overprinting copies.
Promoting stuff that wasn't ready.
Printing stuff that wasn't ready. Oh, I have an idea. Put it together. Let's go. Get it out there.
How many times we go to conventions and we say we're at a convention and we have an issue, and they go, "When's the next one coming out?" It'll be ready in 30 days. And then like 2 months later, we're at another convention. Hey, you got the other issue? Oh, no, it's gonna be ready the next one.
That's right.
You can't do that.
It wasn't ready. Because it wasn't ready. The stories weren't even finished, dude. We were just so happy to have the printed book in our hands that we were going out there and pushing it. And it's like, no, that's not what you do. Nope. That's the perfect way to fail.
Yes.
I mean, in today's climate, I think what's saving us, and maybe this was just in 2020 to now, right? I think crowdfunding campaigns had a big surge. Like they've been around for a while. But now they've really, boom, they've gone overboard. And now I feel like you have a little bit of leeway in between campaigns where you can kind of like be working on a book while this one is being funded, because you're telling people, I need your money to help me put this book together. So now I think you have a bit of a buffer where people are like, oh, well, my money's going to help them put it together. That works for a little bit of time. After a while, people are going to be like, where's my book? Where is this book I gave you?
I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting on somebody I backed back in November last year.
Right.
I'm still waiting for it. And we're in spring.
Yeah. So what happens is that book better be phenomenal.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be very hard to pledge to it again if you have to wait this long for something that A, comes out, incorrect with typos and things like that. B, is just doesn't look like it's finished. It looks like it was rushed. You can tell it was rushed. So again, it'll bite you in the butt in the back end. So it's you might as well be ready, be prepared. Have everything ready before you start your promotional campaigns and all of that stuff. It just, you have to do it that way. You have to do it professionally. Otherwise, people are going to know it's not, and they're not going to take you seriously.
They're going to eat you alive, and your peers are going to make fun of you, and you don't want that. It's like,
especially that's your peer right there.
Oh, you don't want me on your neck. It's like, it's like a piranha. Like,
guy,
so guy. I mean, I was on a show when they were talking about somebody who was 7 attempts on Kickstarter and 3 attempts on Indiegogo and failed at every time. How do you face your peers that you're trying to break into this thing? And each time around, did you go and do your homework? Did you prepare a couple of months in advance? Like we worked on the next campaign for Catch The Crazees as soon as the last one ended. Actually, we were in the middle of it. We were working on it. So in the middle of the second campaign, we were working on the third campaign. We were securing the dates, all that stuff. You know, thinking about the rewards, all that stuff. We got then Kickstarter kicked us out and said we're not gonna approve this until you finish this campaign, even though we were doing it for like a couple of months later.
That's right.
But we had it already in the bag. You know, same thing here. I'm already thinking about what am I gonna do next with Forbidden. Do I just keep staying Indiegogo, or do I go to Kickstarter? Do I do issue 2, or do I just do the whole collected? You know, so and that's where you have to be several steps ahead in your planning phase.
That's right.
Because, you know, prior proper planning prevents piss poor performance, and you just want to make sure that you cover all your bases.
Nice.
You like that, right?
Good one. That's a tongue twister. And this show is actually a perfect example of that, right? A lot of the segments that we are showing you now in April, we were working on back in, I mean, it's March now. So we've been working on this stuff even before that to debut here. So all of the stuff that we have prepared, we've done it. It's done. You know what I mean? And that's why it comes out in a timely fashion. That's why these shows come out every Friday, because we're not recording these shows on Thursday to show it to you Friday. Right. Even though, you know, sometimes with some of the segments that we have, like for example, breaking news, you know, it's kind of hard to stay up. But hey, listen, we want the product to get to you in a timely manner, but also in a professional way. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of the stuff that we're doing either way, it's all completed. It's not, you know, flying by the seat of our pants type of thing.
Nope.
So you definitely have to, you know, take into consideration the fact that the person who's taking that money out of their pocket to give it to you wants something that's finished. You don't want to go to a dealership and buy a car that has 3 wheels. Oh yeah, we're gonna put the 4th wheel on in a couple of weeks.
Only if I can get it at 60% off.
Not even. Well, no, but at that point, if I need the car right now, I'm gonna go to another dealership, because there are other cars. I don't need your car. And like, that's what it is. They don't need your book. They want your book. They don't need it. You know what I mean? And so when we're in an industry where there's no need for it, you know.
When you put the work in and it's represented in the book, that's not the end. That's just the beginning. So all that work for those months leading up to getting to that finished product, that was the beginning. You know, because now the hustle begins. Now the PR campaign begins. Now it's the outreach, the connecting, the social media, the constant postings, the constant looking at, you know, how you're doing, all those things. And it's a daily grind. And, you know, it's frustrating. It's frustrating. Sometimes it's demoralizing, you know, but you have to have that thick skin and that willpower to be able to fight through it and make it happen if that's what you believe in. If you're doing it because you want to get in the game because everybody else is doing it, you're not going to survive. If you're doing it for the love of the game, then respect yourself enough to put out the best version of you, and then let's see what happens after that. But you can't stop there. You got to keep hustling. Yeah,
no, absolutely. Don't be part of the rush mob. Stay out of that circle. You know, make sure that your stuff is ready to rock before you put it out.
Yep.
Yeah. So that is Get Your Meds.
Let's get your Medina Haze.
Yeah, get your meds.
Yes. So let's go to a commercial break. Welcome to the Craze in 10 or Less. Welcome to the Craze in 10 or Less. The show where I give it to you in 10 minutes or under, and if I don't, 10 minutes or under, and if I don't. All right, welcome to the Craze in 10 or Less. It's the show where I give it to you in 10 minutes or under, and if I don't, and if I don't, I won't. Okay, we're back with Catch The Craze, and we have a very special guest. She is an actor, entrepreneur. She does it all. She's been in film. She's been in music videos, from hip hop to The Guiding Light. She does it all. Welcome, Diana Tinker.
Hi, good to be here.
Welcome.
How's it going, Diana? How's it going out there in Cali? How's the weather?
It's going well. You know, we've had, I don't know, like this crazy cold weather that everybody's getting. We got some of that too. Not the snow though.
Yeah.
really cold weather, and it's like starting to warm up a little bit. But yeah, when I have to pull out the scarf and hat, and
So that's why I left New York.
I mean, when you hear that Texas it became Alaska for over a week, and pipes are bursting, and people are running out of food and water, that's crazy in Texas.
it is.
You know, so
We're not prepared for it though.
no, they weren't prepared for it. My sister is out there. This her house is being torn apart because all her pipes burst. So they had to open up all the walls throughout the whole house to actually repair all the piping. It's crazy. But enough about Texas. We want to talk to you. so
That's like LA. If it rains here, we're not prepared for it, so we get floods. It's not like New York.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
you don't have sewers?
Well, they don't get that much rain. They don't get that much. Any of that.
Oh, I never picked up on it. I spent 4 weeks out there. I never picked up on it.
It's always sunny. Well, not sunny, always sunny, but you don't get rain.
Yeah, I don't remember it
dry.
raining once. Yeah. So, but I never even put two and two together.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about how you began, how you got started. You're from New York, right? So tell us a little bit about your how you grew up.
I'm raised in the Bronx, and nothing special. Very humble beginnings. My mom, I just always followed her footsteps, and she was a secretary. So I went to school, learned stenography, started working directly at the Federal Reserve Bank of New York on Wall Street because they just recruited me. Did that for over 8 years, but when I was in school, I always was performing. So anything on stage, from singing to dancing, I'm in it. But I never knew that I can actually pursue that as a career. Like, I just didn't have any knowledge of it. And then when I started working down on Wall Street, you start meeting different people, you're in different environments. And then I met someone, and they were, in acting class, and they started showing me their tapes. And I was like, oh, what's going on here? So I immediately enrolled, and I started booking a lot of stuff, and it interfered with my full-time job. So I quit. And then I started freelancing, getting work here and there. And that's when I met Sam later, because then I started freelancing at Saks to make some money on the side. And then it opened the door to like different things, from print work to foot modeling. The New York Undercover, that was my first big audition.
New York Undercover, dude, that show was the ish back in the days. Like Michael DeLorenzo, right? Like it was the jam. So you were on the show.
Well, I was actually auditioned for the lead role of Lauren Velez.
Oh, wow.
And, it was a great experience, but I certainly didn't have what she had to bring, to the table. I was just new for me. And I think a lot of it, and it's not that I didn't have the ability, I think that I was too shy to allow myself to explore who I could be and what I could do at the time. But I got to meet them. We knew each other forever. We bumped into each other all the time. And then Michael ended up hosting when I was doing Caroline's Comedy Club. I was doing a comedy skit for Latin Night. Mark Anthony was performing, Vito Nieves, and he was hosting it one night when I was doing a comedy skit. So it was great because you just meet people, you network with everyone, and they did call me back on the show, and that's how I got my SAG card. I worked on an episode. I got killed off at the beginning. That was really hitting for me on that, and I was like, woohoo, yeah.
I made it. I'm going
in the right direction.
No, that was a very popular show. I remember watching that when I was growing up. It was, New York Undercover. It was the first time you saw like people like us on screen on a night on a primetime show. So that was like our show. Like New York Undercover was, and it was cool as heck. Like Mike and like I forget the other gentleman's name. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It was our 21 Jump Street.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah. I remember that.
So you just can't skip over that whole thing about Mark Anthony. Did you get to meet him that night?
Yes, I did. But I met Mark before then. I was dating a guy in the industry as well, and him and Mark grew up together.
Oh.
So I met Mark prior to that, and so we were talking, and I told him my mother's gonna come. She wants to meet you. You have to say hi to her. So of course I brought her, and she's like, "Hey, Dios mío."
That guy's voice, man.
Yeah.
His voice is incredible.
Yes.
It's like, yeah, it's absolutely amazing.
Yes.
Yeah. And he sounds live. He sounds exactly the way he sounds on a record. Like he sounds like his voice does not. It's amazing to me. I'm like, how the heck you do that?
Yeah.
It's great. He's
Flaco.
yeah.
So
That's
that's
funny.
so. As you're navigating, at what point did the music videos come in? Were they before the auditioning or after?
The music video?
Yes, because you were in a bunch of music videos.
You know, everything was in between, because what happens is that when you start submitting, and I basically submitted all of my headshots, and I worked. I mean, I had to work on a low budget. I didn't have money to be paying a manager and to be doing all kinds of things. So my girlfriends would get together with me, and it's like, okay, we're having a party of I'm printing some headshots, and we're gonna help mail them out and get to all the casting directors. So I got familiar with a lot of the names on who was casting what, and for whether it was theater or film or television. But when you start submitting as many headshots as I did, somebody may not need you, but
Right.
somebody else will pick it up. And they're
Right.
like, oh, she's great for this.
Mm-hmm.
So some of the headshots that also were taken of me, they weren't necessarily portrayed the way I wanted them to be, because now I'm getting the call for, oh, she looks hot. Let's call her for the music video. Let's call her for this and that. And that's not necessarily what I wanted to do, but it paid the bills.
Right.
So it was fun.
Absolutely.
I met people. I learned which videos I wanted to do, which videos I didn't want to do.
Yeah.
I got to work with some really great artists as well. Wu-Tang Clan and Method Man, he was amazing.
Yeah, man.
I went to Method a couple of years ago, and I stopped him and I'm like, hey, I want to thank you, because we did a video together and we were filming for over 12 hours, and it was for Wu Wear. And you, of course, don't remember any of this, but I have to tell you, we were wearing these outfits, very skimpy outfits. Like, I mean, they put me in, I had a thong and a bra, and the thing was transparent, like a dress, and very hoochie. But all of their guys showed up when we were taping. Now you have hundreds of guys, and it's like a party, and I have to go from one trailer to the next, and I'm like, oh my God, how do I get there? So Method walks in to the trailer, and he sees what I'm wearing. He was like, whoa, what is this? Oh my God. Okay. He grabs a coat, covers me, and he walks me to set.
Wow.
Wow.
That was it. How I met him.
Wow.
I would
And
never.
we started filming, and that was it. I never forgot that.
That's amazing. You know, Method Man, honestly, I think he's one of the most underrated rappers to me. Like as a lyricist, he really is a good lyricist, but he's actually turned out to be a good actor as well. He was in that show, that Power show, that 50 Cent Power show, and he's actually turned out to be a very good actor.
Yes. I've seen him do bits and pieces on different projects throughout the years, and I was like, wow, he's really good. He's watchable.
Yeah, he is watchable. Exactly right. You're exactly right. You don't like cringe when you see him, like, oh man, nah, don't do that. Like, he's actually a good actor. No, that's a great story.
That is a
So what did he
fantastic
say when
story.
you told him that? Did he remember? Like, what did he say?
He was just looking at me. He remembered the video. He remembered, the clothing, because then we switched off, and they basically created Wu Wear. So they wanted us to wear their clothes and change into that after. So he somewhat remembered all of that part of it, and when we were filming. And then when I finished my story, he was like humbled. He was just like, he was going like this. He just, and I'm like, that's all I wanted to say to you. I just want to thank you, because throughout all these years, that's what I remember from you.
Wow.
It's amazing what an act of kindness does. How long, it can make or break somebody, what you do in a moment when someone's vulnerable.
Yeah.
You know?
And as a celebrity, I don't think you know the power that you have, right? Because you took that with you and you still remember that. And he probably was just like, I was just, I didn't think anything of it. So yeah,
he's
the
like,
power
I
these
know.
people have.
He goes, I know the crew that I'm with. Let me cover this
Yeah,
girl up.
let me cover you up, cause
Yeah.
And he didn't have to do that.
yeah, right.
He could have just went about his business, but he
Mhm.
took a moment to do that, and it meant the world to me.
Yeah, you were talking about, Diana. You were talking about getting together with your friends and doing headshots and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, if Instagram was around when you were doing that back in the day, right? Like you would have killed it. Like you would have been like done, right? Because if you look at Instagram now and like what influencers are getting paid and some of the girls that are on there, like,
Absolutely.
right? It's a whole different world. Like that must have been totally different back in the days.
It was totally different because everything was snail mail.
Mm-hmm.
Email was starting up, but it was more in the infrastructure businesses. It wasn't really out there. It wasn't wireless.
Right.
So, everything took forever. And I say it now, it's like the opportunity that these people have, if you can't, jump on it and take advantage of it. There's so many platforms on social media to advance yourself in your career, especially when it comes to, acting.
Yeah.
Everything is self-tape now.
Right.
And, I just accidentally fell into this again because when I moved to California, I hadn't done anything. I had stopped when I was in New York. And, it wasn't something that I wanted to stop doing. It's just that, I moved out here and started taking care of my mom. A lot of things, got in the way. So it's like you just run after your responsibilities. And I said, I'll get back to it. And then time goes on.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't. And I have a very dear friend of mine. She's like, dude, can you get your headshots? Because they're always looking for my mom. And you could be my mom. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do it.
Oh,
and
man.
sure enough, they needed someone. And my girlfriend is also producing and directing. And she asked me to be part of a show that she's trying to pitch to streaming.
Okay.
So I said, okay, I'm up there. So I did it. And then she got casted for this particular film and they needed a mom. And she's like, I have someone.
Mm.
So she's like, I actually have something on her that you can watch because I'm doing this show. So they watched me and they were like, we want her. So that's it. I just had to show up. I was like, oh my God, okay.
That's awesome.
This is getting me, yeah.
That's great. What's funny about that story, Dan, is that I thought you left New York to go to California to pursue acting. I know that you went out there for something completely different. So your move from New York to California was totally not for acting.
The weather.
The weather? Was that it? It was the weather? Because I remember you going away party.
Yes, oh my God.
Yes.
Oh, wow. That reaction.
Well, yeah, I left early. But, the going to party, everybody turned up. Everybody showed up.
Yes, I had a party for a week. Every day. I was a hot mess. By the time I got here, I was so tired. I needed vacation.
Oh.
Every single day, someone had done something for me, and we were celebrating one place or another.
Yeah.
But no, as time went on, and I was in New York, and the weather was getting brutal, and people were like, "Oh, how about California?" I had no desire, but then I came to California one day. I had a little extra vacation time, and I came in October or something. The weather was absolutely beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
We're grilling in the backyard, in a t-shirt and shorts, and I'm like, much of the houses around here. What does it cost to live in this? And I seriously became obsessed.
Mm.
I went back home and I was like online looking for houses in the neighborhood, and I bought a house without coming to see it.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. I always say if I moved to California, it would have to be San Diego. I just love the weather in San Diego all year round. But my family lives like about 3 hours away from LA in a place called Visalia. And there, they, like you said, they just don't get rain. Like it doesn't freaking rain. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. So how did you end up being a foot model? How did that happen?
That's one of those things where somebody got my picture And, you know, I got a call for something. I have no idea what a foot model was. I'm like, are you kidding me? I've heard of hand models. Is this some fetish kind of crazy? Is this, you know? You got to be careful as a girl, too, out there, because you just don't know. If you don't have a manager and you're submitting your own headshots, and I immediately will bring out my book and start looking for the casting director and like, okay, this person is legit. Because I have to be, you know, careful and do my due diligence. Yeah. So, of course, I looked into it and it's legit work and it was a great gig. And I did it for 7 years. They called me in. Being a foot model is when you buy shoes, a lot of the designers, they will have a foot model specifically for that designer. So that's why some shoes or sneakers may be wider, smaller, larger, like everyone doesn't fit the same. But if you buy the same shoe all the time and say you don't try it on, that shoe should fit you because they're probably using a foot model and they're going by that model's foot. So I started going out to a lot of different companies and it was runway shows and then it was in New York and Connecticut and then they started flying me out to Las Vegas and then it became a gig where I became the fit foot model. So they made the shoe according to my foot.
Wow.
That's pretty awesome.
They're making the shoe and had me try it on and what do you like, what do you don't like? And I would tell them the lift is too high, the toe is too short, it's not wide enough, and they would make the adjustments accordingly. So that worked out really nice because it was a seasonal job. So it was twice a year in the winter and the summer. And then it was New York, Connecticut, and Vegas. So if you're working for a month or two straight for each one, it's nice money. Yeah. No, that's great. Yeah, you don't think what goes into being a foot model, right? You just think, oh, maybe she's wearing flip-flops all day. No, they're actually they're fitting shoes according to your foot. Yeah. And that can make or break a shoe. Yeah. Shoe company, the name of the company, because you have a following, right? You have a lot of people that are wearing it. It's a Gucci shoe, and you're wearing Gucci for a long time, and all of a sudden now Gucci has changed, and it doesn't fit you the same size, or it's not as comfortable anymore. So you're going to lose a lot of people. You're going to lose a lot of customers. Right. So it's important to take care of that and have one. So I don't know if they'll do it today. If it's still as popular, I would imagine. I can't see why not. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And then Nate, one of the last things that you did before I think you changed direction, it was Guiding Light.
Actually, Guiding Light was last. I worked on The City, which was on ABC, and I was on The City from beginning to end. It was short-lived. It was 1.5 years that it was on. But they started shooting. That was the first soap opera that they started shooting, and it was shot on film, as opposed to how they would shoot soap operas. So they wanted people from the city. It was shot in Soho. So they wanted that type of ambiance and atmosphere and not your regular looking type of soap opera people. They wanted to change it up a bit. And it was Morgan Fairchild was on that. And we had a good cast that was there because some of the old, the cast from All My Children went to the So we started filming that, and it lasted 1.5 years, and then it just didn't make it. Right. I think it was too different for everyone. Yeah. How's the experience of like being in a soap opera or like a series where you have like your reads? Like, do you guys sit down and like I always envision, how does that work? Like, how often do you guys rehearse, or is it all on your own and then you just kind of come on the set and then you just have to know your lines? How does that whole process work? So I have to say it's different television and film because. And you find this out when you're working with different people on different projects, because I may suggest something that they've never done, and it's because they never worked on TV, so they've never done it that way. So you come to find out different things. So when you are on a soap, at least filmed the way that it was filmed, I would rehearse. Maybe I'd run lines with someone. I'd rehearse on my own most of the time.
Yeah.
And then you go on set and you may say, you want to run lines with someone, and they may run them right then with you. But the manager on set will block. So cameras will come as they block. We stand where we're supposed to stand. We may just say the lines out loud, and that's it. You film after.
Oh, okay.
So it's pretty. I was pretty much ready to always do that. So when I see people wanting to rehearse a lot, I'm like, why? Just keep up the lines, you know. I like, but it's okay because I learned something different from someone else, right? But I like the rawness of coming in, because sometimes you just get that beauty on the first or the second take.
Right.
And then after that, if they want something different, then it gives me time to like get a moment, run my lines, and then get what they're looking for.
Yeah. Do you ad lib a lot? Do you like to go like off the script a little bit, or is that not allowed?
If I'm allowed to, yes. A lot of times you're not allowed to.
No, yeah.
At least when I was acting in New York a lot, a lot of the writers don't like you to go off script. But recently I learned, as I was doing a table read for something, I asked to go over it again, and they were like, you can be off script. And I'm like, oh. And I love doing that. So if you give me the freedom for it, I'm okay with it. But if you want line for line, sometimes it's not in the moment, you know. Sometimes when you have to say something and that's not what I feel.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have to work on that, because if that's what you want me to deliver, then I'll do it.
Right.
Yeah, but I'll bring it up if it's not something. I'm like, can I change this? It's just not quite, like, I can't see her saying that. I can't see her doing that, you know?
Right. Yeah, because you in essence become the character, and if the character's not feeling that, you feel like maybe I can do it a little different. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, sure.
So how many auditions throughout your career did you go on, and how did you overcome any nerves going into those auditions?
Yeah, because you were shy, right? You said you were a little shy. So how did you overcome that?
I was very shy, but you know, when I got on stage, that got rid of it.
Nice.
Because going to class, being shy, but having to work on a scene with someone, and you have to touch someone or you have to kiss someone, you have to be the character. So it wasn't me anymore, right? So I have to be the best that I can. And that allowed me to break through from my shyness. But once I'm off stage, it's like I go back into my own little world. You know? And I understand when a lot of actors play a certain role and people see them and they think that's who they are. It's just a character, and you're good at it, but it doesn't mean that's who you are. Yeah. I'm sorry, that's my dog.
That's okay. That's all right.
I thought that was George's stomach.
It happens to Sam all the time. His dogs are always in the studio.
My guys are always acting up.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
So it took to answer, like, on the auditions. It was a lot of auditions. Also feeling more confident as an actor of who I am going into that audition made me stronger, because as a Latina, we don't get the doctors, we don't get the lawyers, we get the maids, we get the hooker, you know, guiding light. It was for, you know, a hooker, but I got her, I did her well, but damn it, I can be better than a hooker, you know? But to me, it's like, I'm going to go in and I'm going to do what I have to do to get it and get it on my resume.
That's right.
But what happened to giving me the lawyer, or giving me, you know, a different character? And then you go in, and because they know you're Latina, immediately, back in the day, I love Rosie Perez, but she opened the door for us, right? So they're looking for Latinas, but can you do that again? What's your nationality? They're not supposed to ask you, but they do ask you.
Wow.
Ag rules to be asked that. What's your nationality? Puerto Rican? You don't sound Puerto Rican. Can you?
Damn.
Yeah, can you? A little bit more like Rosie Perez.
Oh man.
All the time, and I'm like, I took
Damn.
each classes so that I can get rid of my Bronx accent, so I can get rid of my accent of sounding Puerto Rican
Mm-hmm.
slang. And here you want me to give you this. So I built up some stamina. And I remember one time I said, well, actually, we all don't sound like Rosie Perez. I'd love to do it a different way for you if you'd like.
Right.
And they said yes. And I did it a different way, but I still didn't give them Rosie Perez.
Mm.
And then when I was done, I knew I wasn't going anywhere with this, but I just felt good that I can do that and respect myself as an actor while I was there.
Yeah.
And I said, I could be shooting myself in the foot here and never get a call back from these people. But, I just felt good. And I said, thank you so much for your time. And I left.
Yeah, it's crazy because you don't think about that stuff, right? Like as a viewer of shows and stuff like that, I don't think about what that actress had to go through to get that role or whatever. And it's like you go through that, and it sucks, man. Because you're right. Where is the Latina lawyer? You know what I mean? Like it sucks.
Well, I think a lot of it, again, it was accepted. It was accepted. It was just a standard, and there's this, you're made to feel as if, look, you're lucky you're getting a part. You know what I mean? So you want it. So you're appreciative. Oh, thank you. Thank you for considering me. And I think a lot of those barriers are being broken. And there's still a long way to go, but, it's great to see that in the past few years that you're seeing a lot of diversity. In areas where I was just watching Tyler Perry's film set in Atlanta that he built. Right, it's the biggest film set there is, and it's amazing when you look at what people are doing when they're taking their lives into their own hands, and they say, you know what, all right, you can have your system. I'm going to create a new system. You can have your way of thinking. I'm going to create a new path, and you gotta keep your integrity intact.
Do you?
Doing that also, and that's one of the problems, that we don't have enough Latinos.
Yes.
And then when you do, and there's a show out there, you don't have enough Latinos watching.
Right.
George and I had that conversation. We were talking about it, how you don't see in our community a coalition, a collective. It's more individualized. You know what I mean? Where you see in other communities, there's this pride in working together and building something together. It's just in the Latin community, it's just so different. Yeah,
my experience as an immigrant, because I'm from Ecuador, right? And I came here when I was 7 years old. And I remember that the hardest thing was fitting in. And it was because when I didn't speak English, I was too Hispanic, right? Oh, this kid doesn't speak English, right? When I started learning English and I spoke English and perfect English, now my Spanish friends were like, oh, you're too blanquito now, right? You're a blanquito now. Now you don't want to talk to us. And it's like, yo, dude, like, I can't win, bro. Like, it's either I'm too Hispanic or I'm too white. So where do I fit in? And I think that that's what happens with like shows, right? Like, because Hispanics, they'll watch Univision, they'll watch Telemundo, right? They'll watch las novelas in Spanish, right? But if a show comes on NBC that has a Spanish cast, they're not going to watch it. Some of them maybe don't know the language. And some of them, if they do know the language, they'd rather watch, whatever else is on TV rather than that Spanish channel. So I think that's where I think our viewership of shows, that's why it's so low, because if you're watching Spanish shows, you expect them to be on Univision. You don't expect them on NBC, so it's tough. Do you find that it's changing at all I don't know how deep into the industry you are now, Diana, but when you were like, did you see any change from when you started to where you kind of like are now?
Well, I think that streaming now is changing everything because you have so many different outlets and people are just pitching it away and they're snatching it up. So you see raw TV and you see all different walks of life on there. All these different shows that the regular networks would never pick up. You're seeing it everywhere, and that's what I watch. All Hulu, and come on, it's like TV. It's like I'll put something on, and I'm like, oh, I say, moving on. So I'm gonna watch that other character that you never hired us for. That's what I want to support. That's what I like.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that you say that about what we look like, what we sound like. Because even Sam told me years ago. Do you remember this? You told me I look from Samoan.
No. She just raised the eyebrows at me. No. Samoan?
Do you remember, Sam? He's like, she has this nice story about Method, but your story's a little different.
What?
What? I look what? You said Samoan. And I was like, I went on the computer and I'm like, what's a Samoan?
I said that?
Okay. Yes, you did.
Yes, you did.
That damn Sam. No, but that's a good example.
It's but it's okay because it's like when I would go out and they asked me, I learned, right? So one of my acting coaches, she said, we need to take that and we need to create something with it. And I said, okay, what are we going to do? Because I got Filipina, then I started getting a lot of Filipina. I started getting black when my hair's curly and long and I'm, get dark in the summer. So I started getting all of that. So we created the name that I was a Filo Black Latina. I cover all markets. When I walked in and they would ask me, that's what I would say. And they're like, what? In actuality, I'm a Filo Black Latina. I cover all markets. Smile, okay.
You became a chameleon, Diana.
Huh?
You became a chameleon. You could be anything.
Yes. I'm like, no, man, you're not going to shut me down. It's like, I came here to do my job. It's like, stop typecasting me.
Yeah.
Trying to make me something that I'm not, because if it's an Italian role, it's like, why can't I be Italian?
Right.
Unless you want that heavy accent. But it's like, it doesn't matter. And then I see J-Lo playing an Italian in the cop show with George Clooney. And I said, you see, Mama has it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Have you met J-Lo at all, or have you ever ran into her?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, when I was working freelancing Saks, I also worked at different high-end retail stores. She came in one day looking for my brand. And they brought her to me, and then she's like, oh yeah, and I'm showing her different things, and she's like, oh, some candles, and I'm like, do you like this? And she goes, just pick it for me. So I was walking around, and she's like, just pick it, whatever you think. So I loaded her up because I'm like, okay. She's like, I'm gonna go film, and I want to take some stuff to the hotel, and I want bath salts, and I want to feel like I'm at home, so help me make my hotel like I'm at home. So I'm like, loading up as we're going, and I'm like, get some aromatherapy in there. So I didn't work for the store, I just freelanced. So when it was time for her to pay, everybody's like wanting to jump on the sale, and I'm like, however you'd like to pay, they'll take care of you. I don't ring. And she's like, oh no, my girl's gonna come pay. You know her. And I'm like, what? So she used her. I shopped for her. She would send her assistant, and her assistant would have me pick everything. So everything that I would pick, she loved it. So that's why she's like, no, just pick.
Oh, so she knew who you were, yeah.
She knew who I was, and now she wanted to come in. So I was like, oh, okay, now I know. I remember her. Okay, that makes sense. So we had that encounter, and I said, Diana, take advantage of it. And I said, I don't want to be disrespectful, but I'm an actor, from the Bronx as well. And I'd like to give you my card in case, there's anything that may come up, even as you're standing, Yeah. And I said, I actually went for an audition this is what she was dating P. Diddy for his video. And she's like, really, which one? So we got into that conversation. I didn't get a call back for that, but I gave her my card. But then I stopped working shortly thereafter at that store. But I was told that the assistant kept calling, and she called because before I left, I know she called me, and she's like, she wanted a basket for me to make for Benny
Medina.
For his birthday, so that we could get it sent out and all that. But I lost touch, and then I bumped into her again, but she had her whole entourage, and I wasn't gonna Remember me?
Oh,
Nice.
I'm telling, life gets in the way, right there, Hannah? It's like goddamn life.
So
Yeah.
now let's fast forward to your current project. How did you get involved with the Tri-Film project?
So this was my girlfriend that had casted one of there's 3 leads in this project, and she casted the lead in this, and they needed a mom, and she recommended me. Like I said, she had also, because she's a producer and a director, is creating another show that she's trying to pitch to the streaming shows. And she asked me if I could be part of it, and it was my pleasure to do so. So she had me on film. So when they were looking for a mom for her character role, she immediately just showed them my work, and they wanted to meet me. So I didn't have to audition, screen, or anything. I just got casted. And we shot during COVID, which was masks, the whole protocol.
Wow.
It also talks about HIV in today's world and how people are living with it, especially, it talks about like unresolved traumas that people have, because people think and they leave the HIV out. It's not a pandemic at this point, but it materializes on the impact in all areas of people's life and how it affects them, especially now with the pandemic and the rising movement against the police violence. So it was strong, and I was really proud to be part of it because it meant something to me. It's, I've dealt with racism as well. My family has as well. So it's a touchy subject. And with the pandemic, meeting everyone in the protocols. Now, the director for this film is a doctor. So they had research doctors involved, psychiatric, for mental. So, the stigma of people not talking about those issues as well, it's important. So for me to come back to be part of something that I feel is really important, it was an honor.
Yeah.
Really an honor. And then to have it, to see what it's doing right now with the film festivals picking it up, and it's great.
So what was
I love it.
What was your time?
Go ahead.
What was your time period before you from your last film to this? What was that break-in period? And then did you have any nerves going into a project, considering you haven't been in the game for a while?
So I actually filmed, it was maybe a year or less than a year ago for my girlfriend's project.
Okay.
And then I filmed that, and then they wanted to do like an episode of talking to me afterwards. So then I had filmed like a month prior to that little clip on the side. And honestly, going in, no nerves, nothing. I felt in a really good place in my life where I think the years it's taught me a lot, that I'm more comfortable in my own skin, not to be nervous. So I'm able to perform who I am and how I am. So before that project though, over 10 years maybe.
Wow. And no nerves? Wow.
Well, I think it's like you said, I think the time gives you that strength, right? You're like, I am who I am. Like, you're comfortable, you're confident. You're like, I'm a woman. I'm not this like scared girl that you can intimidate anymore. I'm like, I'm going to go in and I'm going to kill it. And I love that. I love that reaction from you when you came into it.
Or at least do the best that I feel I can.
Right. Yeah, no, that's awesome. So the film is called Try. It's translating research for you. So that's what the acronym is for the movie, right? That sounds like a really, really positive project. And you said it's garnering some rewards at some of the film festivals, right?
Yes. I forget, and forgive me, the names of all the film festivals, but it won one recently, and
Yep.
then it's nominated for the international one in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
Nominated 4 times, and it's going to be premiering in June in the international in Toronto, which is exciting. And then there are 3 other film festivals also that have nominated it as well.
Perfect. Do you have anything? Do you have anything lined up? Any other? Are you going back into acting, or are you? What are your plans?
You know, today's world going back is different, as we know, and what's great is that you can do self-tapes at home now, you know, especially because of the pandemic. So a lot of things have changed where you can just do self-tapes and submit them. You don't have to actually go to the casting calls, but it's just the same like if you're going to a casting call, but they ask you for a reel to submit. They want your headshot. I need to get a reel, and I need to get my headshots, and I haven't started on that. And I have to say that Dr. Megan Ebor, who's the director, she said, Diana, I want to thank you for being part of this. You have an amazing, you need to get back into this. You have an amazing gift, and you have to come back. You have to share this. And it just took me back, like, wow, what? Like, are you kidding me? It's so touching for her to feel that way. And she let me improvise, because we were shooting a couple of things. It was the same role, and we blocked it. We rehearsed a little bit, but it wasn't really rehearsing. It was like, okay, Diana, walk in, and then I want you to come after her. So they're gonna come after you. You're gonna walk in, and you're gonna do your thing. And I said, oh, okay. And I'm walking in with my granddaughter's coming after, and then my daughter. So, we come in, we rehearse a couple of things, and then she changes position with camera and whatnot. And she's like, okay, so let's do that again. So now we come in, and nobody's coming. I'm by myself for a while, and then it's like my granddaughter. So I'm like, so I start talking, because it's like, what the hell? Nobody's coming. Okay, I'm going to improvise, And this is what I love to do anyway. So I just start improvising and doing my thing. And then I see her sending them in, and I'm like, oh, okay. So she's giving me my space here,
Oh, wow.
Told me later, she goes, it's just great watching you. And I'm like, oh, well, thank you.
That's amazing, man. But see, that's a good director, right? Because she just lets you do your thing.
Yeah,
I think
if it works for her project, then fine.
Yeah, I think and based on what I've read, and I watch a lot of documentaries and interviews, what I've read is like the best directors are the ones who are smart enough to know who needs to be led and who needs to just be given the creative freedom because they trust them. I think when a director trusts you as a talent, then you have more liberties than someone that they wouldn't trust. They haven't worked with before. You have to earn that trust. But I think, what it sounds like here, she trusted you, and that you were going to represent her project in the best light. And that's why you had the liberties you had.
I hope so, yeah. Unless she said, screws this up, we already have some other takes. So, but I just went with it. And then, when she walked in, it's like I picked up exactly where my lines were, and it was like, wow, that was great. It was nice.
Nice. Well, I hope you come back. I want to see more. I want to see more stuff. I definitely want to check out Try. Hopefully, it'll be we can watch it when it debuts, because I definitely want to see you acting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a big role. I just have, my role is very small, but nonetheless, it's being part of something so positive that is exciting.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely, and I'm going to look into it and get my stuff out there, because there's a project that I saw that I'd love to be part of, and I didn't have my the correct stuff to submit for it, and I was like, this is driving me insane now. I didn't for a couple of days, but it's okay.
Right.
Yeah, but once it once I find out more information, I'll post about it and put it out there if they don't do so.
Outstanding. So, if someone's watching this and they want to know more about what you do, what are your social handles?
You know, I'm on Instagram, Diana Tinker, and then I don't post a lot about my acting because I haven't done so much, but being that they did, I just copy and paste and repost or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you have some work that you want me to read, I'm there. It's like I have my other IG for my residential redevelopment company also.
Yeah, you want to talk a little bit about that, Diana? You want to tell us a little bit about what you're doing there?
Yeah, so you know, I reinvented myself also, as I think it's part of me being an artist. I can't say this for everyone, but you know, I always find something that I may want to do when something doesn't work out the way I think it should be, right? Life takes you for a curve, and I just immediately come to that creative side. So I love to paint. I love to decorate. Like I had friends that would hire me so I can actually decorate their home if they were moving to a new apartment, to a new house, or to do personal shopping for them because they had the means, but they just didn't know how to put themselves together. And I'm like, okay, I charge this much. I go, you know, do all of that. So at this time, it was an opportunity that that came, and I decided to invest in myself on opening up a business on buying homes and flipping.
Mm-hmm.
And my husband has joined me in my venture, and having a portfolio of rentals as well. So having a home and renting it out, buying another home and renting it out, and just adding on to that at the same time. So we are in closing on our third portfolio for rental at the moment. And we were in a webinar last night on one of the largest commercial residential investments that we may be part of.
Wow, good for you.
Access. So we're looking into that as well. So there's different avenues of different things that we do. Is basically taking money and reinvesting it into the real estate business. And it helps the economy with what we do.
Yeah.
There are a lot of incentives for us also because we create a lot of jobs for people.
Right.
So, yeah, I enjoy that.
That's awesome. And the handle on Instagram for everybody listening is House to Home Solutions. House is spelled with a Z. So HOUZE_2, the number 2, _home and _solutions. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, you call me. I think that what I've gotten from, like, because I just met you today, but I feel like even before we came on the air, I was like, is there anything you want to, and you were like, whatever, I improvise. And that's exactly what you've done. I feel like your entire life, you've improvised. When something didn't work out, you went over here. When something didn't work out over here, you went over there. And it's honestly, I was very nice talking to you, Diana, because that's what life is about, right? It's about being able to hit the curveball, so to speak.
It's a pleasure.
And that's great. I'm glad you've done that.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
It's, like I say, reinvent yourself, whatever it takes. Just move forward, figure it out, try to do something with yourself, you know, keep yourself connected with positive people. Don't let bad energy take you down. And if somebody says you can't do it, find somebody that's going to say, you can do it. How can I help?
There you go.
Because I think that in our world for Latinos, we don't help each other grow.
No.
I think that if one Latino gets to this level, they tend to step on each other on that ladder, and they don't help bring someone up. And you know, I'm not saying every one of us does that, but I find that happens a lot, you know, and we need to put ourselves out there, put a platform out there that we're helping each other out.
Yeah.
Right,
Amen.
because there's
Amen
that
to
me, there's the me mindset instead of the we mindset, you know, and you know, it's like if one makes it, we all make it. That mentality is not there, and there's a long way to go in the Latin community to understand that concept. And if you take a playbook from what's happening in some of the other communities, you'll be able to see the benefit of supporting one another. You know, so there's a lot to learn out there. But I mean, this is I'm glad you decided to be on the show. I'm excited for you. I've been watching all of your endeavors. I'm like this. I was like, this girl's always doing something. it's like I mean, and you're fearless, and that's what's great about it is that you walk in with a fearless mindset, and I think
There's fear there, though.
Huh?
There's fear there, though.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I think for you, the fear is what drives you.
Yeah.
I think it has to, because either fear either make you do it or it'll make you not do it, and you got to choose. Now you make a choice: am I going to do it or am I not going to do it? You know, it's like, you know, sink or swim. But yeah,
because if you're a fighter and you're not afraid when you're going into that ring to lose, you're going to lose. That fear has to be that motivating factor in there, because if you don't have fear, what else is gonna push you? You know, the fear of failure should be that energy that drives you to succeed. I don't want to fail, so I'm going to hustle. I'm going to make this happen. So it's a natural thing to be afraid, but it's also inspiring to see what you do with that fear, and you convert that into positive energy and forward movement, and that's what you've done in everything you've touched. So congratulations to you.
Yeah, much power to you, and I hope you keep doing it. I need to see you on the screen, so you need to get out there. All right.
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Diana.
Thank you, Diana,
for being on our show, and you know, I will be sending you the link once this is up and running. Okay, we're back, and that was Diana Tinker. Oh my gosh, I remember meeting Diana. It was years ago, long time ago. I was in security. She was a freelancer in the cosmetics department at Saks Fifth Avenue, and we just started talking, and she was telling me about the music videos, and I looked it up, and I saw her in the music video with Wu-Tang Clan, and I remember she was doing a lot of things. And then I remember when she decided to pick up and move, you know, to, you know, California, and I thought that was very ballsy to be able to just, you know, start over. And but then I watched it throughout the years. I mean, number one, she has an eye for fashion. She has an eye for design, and she, you know, it's rare when to find individuals that are just willing just to take risks. And she's gambled, and if it didn't work, she just moved on, shrugged it off, and kept on going. I think that's pretty dope, pretty awesome.
It's that improvisational artist in her. She likes to improv.
Yeah. And
that's awesome. I love it. I really, really enjoyed that, talking to her and hearing where she came from, and hearing some of the, you know, some of the hardships,
the realities
that as a Latina, you know, actor, she has to go through. You know, can you be a little more like Rosie? And it's, you know, it sucks.
But that
it really does.
Rosie Perez, as good as she was and you enjoyed in the films, hurt other actresses because she created this persona that now that was all you were considered. I remember I shared that story, you know, and again, we've all experienced some sort of prejudice or racist remarks throughout the years. And I remember, you know, being around and everyone was taken back by the fact that I was Puerto Rican. And they're like, you're too tall to be Puerto Rican. Your skin's too white. You know, shouldn't your hair be nappy? The ignorance that's out there because people don't take the time to just get to learn about your brothers and sisters, because that's what we all are. And so for me, you know, my only response was, other than me, how many other Puerto Ricans do you know? And then he backed off. You're right. And I grabbed my beer and I walked away. I didn't make a stink of it. I just moved on. I recognized it is not my place to educate you. It's your place, right? And so, but you can either consume that negative energy and let it, you know, toxify your body, where you come out negative and you react in a way that you're going to regret, or you can just shrug it off and keep it moving. And that's what I did my whole life. I've experienced that. But you know what? I recognize it's ignorance. And, you know, and the people who decide that they want to take it upon themselves to try to educate somebody else, that's not your place.
Yeah.
That should have happened at home from jump. It should have happened in, you know, I went to schools where there was nothing but diversity. Everybody looked different. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it was like I felt fortunate to be around it, so I didn't recognize it. But then when I experienced it, when I was in a different community, I was like, oh, this is interesting. All right. So,
Yeah.
I just, I think she's doing a great job with what she's doing, and I love the fact that she's getting a restart in a field where she started out in.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's great, man. It's great. And she definitely, like I said, man, she definitely has to do more things, because I definitely want to see more. And that story she shared about the director telling her, you need to do this because you have a gift, and you need to share it.
That's
like,
beautiful.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
What's more powerful than when someone believes in you?
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
and she's right, and she's right, and she's like, surround yourselves, get rid of all the negative people, surround yourself with people that say, okay, you can do it, and how can I help?
Yes.
You can do it, and how can I? Not just the yes people, because that's, and I think that last bit of it is where she nailed it, where she said, how can I help? Because you will find people who will say, oh, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it, and then that's all they're doing. Yeah, you can do it, and then walk away, and it's like,
Right.
all right, thanks. But those people that say you can do it and how can I help, that's going to make the difference.
Yes,
So
and that's
that
far
well said.
and few in between, which is why it was interesting how today I was watching the Tyler Perry documentary and how he built his empire and what he's doing for his community, and I thought that's such a powerful move on his part. And we talked about when we reflected on our community, and so for me it's just like, look, my community has nothing to do with ethnicity. It has to do with value systems. Do we share the same value system? Do we have the same ambitions and the outlook in life? Do we respect others and animals? You're not an animal lover. You're not in my sandbox, right? So I think it's value system is the most important thing. If we have the same values, that means we care for each other. We're gonna protect each other. We're gonna take care of each other. We're gonna grow together. And let's look past this and start looking at that. I love shows like this because me, I wind up getting into this whole mindset where I start thinking. But this is a great episode. It's a great episode for aspiring actors, entrepreneurs. I mean, look what she's doing. The diversity in her portfolio. She had a food truck. She's got a revitalization business. She's a designer. She was an actress. It's amazing. What you can do, and how many times you can start writing a new chapter in your life and still flourish.
And don't box yourself into just one, this is what defines me. I'm just this. This is what I am, and that's all I am. Because that's exactly why she's been able to get through and be successful in life, is because she hasn't just put herself in a box and I'm just an actress or an actor. She's everything. She's done a lot of things, because she's not just that. She's great at it. But she's not just an actor. She's done other things. But yeah, that's great, dude. This was excellent.
This is a good show. I enjoy.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
I really enjoyed this episode, and I wonder what you think. I'd love to hear your feedback about this episode. And do you have any take on this? Did you have any similar experiences in auditioning or in the acting world, or any stigmas? And did you overcome any challenges? Or we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to get your feedback. You have any questions for Diana? Put it in the comments below.
Right.
Don't forget to subscribe.
And if you're wondering why we're wearing different clothes, this is another day. The day we actually recorded this show, we had a mishap with the time zones.
All lies. All lies.
So that's why we're wearing something different. But we should go to our new segment on the show now, which is the shameless plug segment.
Yeah, but I'm not sure who we're plugging.
Oh, it's Syphaxius.
Oh, that would have been nice if I knew ahead of time. So, but talk about some of the things, like what do we got going on next week while I pull up the shameless plug?
Yeah. All right. So next week is the 30th. Next week on the show, listen, next week, the 29th, first of all, is going to be the launch of the Crazees #3. So Kickstarter is we grace Kickstarter with the Crazees with the Crazees presence next the 29th on Thursday, and we're going to be having a live show to go on there and talk about them. So join us live on the 29th as we launch the new Kickstarter, and you want to be one of the first ones to pledge, because there are going to be some very, very exclusive perks.
Exclusive.
I'll say that.
It's all exclusive.
That's right. We are printing a limited amount of books, and you want to be one of the first because we're going to be doing it in order numbers. So 1 of 100, 2 of 100, 3 of 100. You want to be the first ones. That's next week, Thursday. On the 30th, we have a very good episode with Mr. Russ Leach next week. Russ Leach will be on the show. Only Death Can Save Us. Great book. Sam did a What's in the Box.
Yeah, it's really good book.
On the topic. Really, really good book.
I am a fan.
Ordered my copy. I ordered my copy.
Oh, did you?
So yeah, it's coming from the UK. So
nice.
I'm ready for it. So that's what's going on.
Yes. And let's go to that shameless plug segment.
You've been plugged.
So who are plugging today?
All right, I've been rolling with this dog for many, many, many years,
yes.
Mr. Jonathan
Big
Syphax.
wheels keep on turning.
The Psycho Syphax, as Sam has dubbed him. He's currently working on many projects. He always is. His one of the books that he's got out right now is called the Future Scope Showcase, and he's got a book that he wrote and is putting out called The Lesson. And so you need to check that out. Check him out. He's on Instagram at Future Scope Comics. So check him out on Instagram. He's on Facebook under Jonathan Syphax. And he's always posting. He's always promoting his stuff. So check him out. Jonathan, Mr. Syphax, you've been plugged, sir.
You've been plugged, and you got to ask a lot of questions because I'm looking for Celestine to be finished in Street Journal. I didn't even know about this other one. What's it called? Focus?
The lesson.
The lesson. No, the lesson here is focus on one project at a time because I'm confused.
Oh man, it's got a bunch of them. So yeah. Big shout out to Jonathan.
Big shout out to Jonathan, the Psycho Syphax.
That's right.
And Jonathan and I will be at PowCon.
PowCon.
Yeah,
May
PowCon.
29th, right? May 29th, end of next month.
May 29th through the 30th at in Wayne, New Jersey. It's 1 Pal Drive, Wayne, New Jersey 07470. They're actually having contests for like PlayStation giveaways. They're having a contest to win a PlayStation. They got some great stuff, and every day I see new guests that's going to be there. So it looks like it's going to be a happening place.
Show.
Yeah,
big show.
I'm pretty excited to have my first show in a long time to be hopefully a big one.
Definitely. And don't forget, everybody, sign up, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the comment section, hit the like button.
Yes.
Make sure you check us out next week. And if you want to be a sponsor, Sam, let them know how they can do it.
All right, so here we go. If you want to be a sponsor, here's the rate card. And if you're listening to us on iHeart or Pandora, you can't see the rate card. But if you go over to crazycomics.com and you go over to the Catch the Craze section of the website, you'll see Be a Sponsor, become a sponsor. And you can sponsor an episode for as little as $5 for a 30-second spot to up to $10. All depends on which show you want to sponsor, or you get a package deal and save a couple of bucks. So, if you sponsor, let's say 4 shows of Catch the Craze at $10 a pop, that's $40. But if you get a monthly package, it's $25. You'll save $15. And you're able to promote your bar mitzvah, your coming out party, your book release party, whatever it is. You have a movie you're going to be in and you want to promote it ahead of time because it's going to be a movie release party. Just hit us up, and once you hit that link, it'll take you to the page. You select which show you want to sponsor. You pay. You send us your files. That's as simple as that.
Done.
Simple as that.
And if you want to be on the show, go follow us. Like the Facebook page, Catch the Craze. There's a book now button on there that you could just click and pick what date you want to be interviewed for the show. Now, when we say interviewed for the show, it doesn't mean you will be on the show on that day. That's very important.
Yes, I mean, you guys are acting up.
Just because we're recording the show. Remember, we pre-record the shows and then we air them later on.
Yes.
So make sure that you click. You're not going to be on the show. So don't tell your mom, your dad, and your family that you're going to be on the show on that date. You're not. You could be recorded on that date. Nobody will see it until later on. Now, if you have a Kickstarter, if you have an Indiegogo or something you're promoting, let us know that you're doing that so that we prioritize your show and move it up. We do shoot. Sometimes we'll do shows on Sunday for things like this. So let us know you're doing it, and we'll put you up front. But yeah,
and we don't want you to forget. We don't want you to forget to join us the 29th. Why is that so big? Join us April 29th for the live show as we launch Catch the Crazees on Kickstarter issue number 3. We hope that every single person, I'm putting up the cover right now, for some reason it just blew up on me. There's the cover for issue number 3.
It's coming.
We love for everybody who's pledged issues 1 and 2 to join us for the live show. We want to talk about your experience reading the 2 issues, and we want to try to pick your brain and see if you can guess what's going to happen in issue 3. And there might be a raffle or 2. Who knows? So we love for you to be in the audience. It's going to be a big night. Big night.
There's going to be announcements. There's going to be, interaction. You know how we do. We've done it for a couple times. You were just you were on a show last month on the Nerds of the Round, and we were raffling for the last Kickstarter. We raffled off some hoodies, and Sebastian Bonet, he's one of the hosts of Nerds of the Round, had his hoodie on because he wanted in the raffle. That wasn't rigged. He actually won it. So you want to be on. You never know what we're gonna be raffling off, so that'll be cool.
Word. So
word to Big Bird.
With that said, I'm Sam the Crazy Man Vera.
I'm George the Dreamer Medina.
And we are out.
It's just it's not.
Crazy. Acquiesce. No, I was talking about my friend Acquiesce. I met him Say my name, right?
This is what you were thinking? Oh,
he described me. He said, I'm the...
You're listening to Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. You are listening to Catch the Craze on Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze.